Hey you, I'm Dallas Ann, creator of the Violet Pie, and this is Knitting Myself Together. This space is for you and I, where we can sit down, chat, talk about life and knitting, and how that is all intertwined. I am so excited to be back for season 4. It has been such a long time, and I've missed you. Since we've last sat down together, there have been so many designs published through the Violet Pie over at Ravelry. I'll include a link in the show notes to all of them. Also, on the blog, you will find a post for each design that lays out all of the things that lead up to a design being released. Like, there are mood boards that incorporate all of the inspiration and things that tie in that speak to the design in general. Sometimes there are YouTube videos for our lunch break knitting episodes that include the yarn, or maybe I'm wearing the piece in it. And I would love it if you would go take a look, see if there's anything to you that you feel like is missing. What do you want to know about the designs, about the process, inspiration, anything like that? I would love to potentially incorporate your ideas or your interests into future blog posts about designs. So let me know, would you? My two most recent designs are shawls, which, this sounds really weird, but it's a kind of a new thing for me. I, in the past, have only released shawls on my birthday as gifts for you because it's my birthday. You know, if it's my birthday, everybody should be having a good day. And one of the ways is to offer a free pattern. Well, these patterns aren't free, and they've done well. And it's been so encouraging. The first one was Serious Rising. It's this gorgeous watercolor Malabrigo sock that is contrasted with this luscious tonal gray. Malabrigo picked up some of my social media images and reposted it. It totally blew me away and made my day. I had true flappy hand joy over it all, and I was flailing so hard I dropped my phone when I saw it. And then the other pattern that I released actually came out last week. This shawl pattern is called Italic, and it's a light fingering and also fingering weight pattern. You can use either. I used both weights in the design, and it's been something of a sleeper pattern, I guess that's what you would call it. It was a pleasure to knit. It was very enjoyable. I added tassels because they make me happy. But aside from that, I was like, oh, this is cute, this is great, I'll share it, but it really didn't capture me. But y'all have loved it. And I really wish I knew what it was about it that just captured your fascination and your interest. Because the response to Italic has been so encouraging, and I love it. And I wish I could pinpoint just exactly what it is about Italic and Serious Rising, for that matter, so that I can tap into it more and feed more of that into my upcoming designs, whatever that is. So if you happen to know or think you can pinpoint what it is, let me know. You can drop me an email at thevioletpie@gmail.com. You can also comment on the blog post in the show notes area. Talk to me on Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry. I'm everywhere as the Violet Pie, and I would love to hear from you. One last bit of business before we head into the actual episode. I wanted to talk to you about test knitting and beta knitting and what that means to me. If you head over to Ravelry, I'll link it to the thread in show notes. you will find a thread where you can sign up to be ear burned when I'm looking for someone to knit a design prior to release. Now, most designers call this test knitting, and a test knitter is generally expected to work a pattern that is almost done. There might be some typos, there might be some questionable wording that the designer needs input on. It might be a fairly rough go of it, and the designer is needing a lot of hands-on support for editing and proofreading and all of that. Confirmation of numbers and math. As a test knitter, your job is huge and big and so important, and it can also be kind of overwhelming. I have utilized test knitters in the past, and it has been priceless and amazing, and I'm probably going to have to utilize them again in the future. But what I am shifting gears to is the concept of beta knitting. I would love to have people knit my designs prior to release, like a test knitter, but the difference is that I don't need math confirmation. I mean, yes, I want you to count your stitches and make sure you get gauge so everything turns out to the correct size. But I don't need you to triple check everything because I'm very confident in what I'm offering you. What I'm truly looking for is high quality, finished object pictures and a project page with notes that are very informative and informational for anybody who's looking to purchase the pattern after release, so that they can have a bit of a preview as to what it actually is, the process and the experience. So that's what I'm switching gears to is beta knitting, and I would love to have you do this. Now, for some people, it might be a bonus because they love the idea of test knitting, but the idea of checking math is really overwhelming. But for other people, the idea of taking really high quality finished object pictures is overwhelming. Maybe your selfie game isn't totally on point, or hanging something on a nice hanger against a clean, crisp background isn't something that really manifests in your life right now. Either way, there is a place for you over at the Violet Pies community on Ravelry. And if you want to go sign up, check the link in show notes. And I would love to ear burn you anytime a new design drops. So, that's business. That's the little bit of chit chat about the things in between since we've last talked. Let's get into this. When last we talked, I was so ill. This illness, I just couldn't shake it. It lasted for months, it felt like, and I had no voice for weeks, and I couldn't podcast. I couldn't talk at work, which, let me tell you, is a hot mess when you do what I do for a living, which isn't knitting yet. Hopefully eventually, but not yet. Anyways, I ended up just dropping the season because it was just too long. When my voice finally came back, it had been so long, it felt pointless to release one episode and then wait a few weeks longer and then start everything back up again fresh. And I felt like I lost my joy, my mojo, my happiness and pleasure and excitement for the creativity and the process of podcasting, and it was starting to creep into my knitting. And I just didn't know what to do. So I dropped everything, just took a deep breath, and started seeking inspiration. And I found this book. Gosh, I can't even believe I'm talking about this. this book, even a mere 2 or 3 years ago, I might have, in my head, kind of thought, oh my gosh, really now? If a friend had started talking about it. But I would have listened with pleasure and excitement because it was bringing my friend pleasure and excitement and inspiration. But I would have totally brushed it off in my own mind and heart as whatever. They can do their woo-woo thing. And I'm glad it makes them happy. So there's this book by Elizabeth Gilbert. She's the one who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Well, she also wrote this book called Big Magic. Are you familiar with this book? Am I the last person in the world to have discovered this? It is a book written in first person. Probably falls in the self-help category, but I more look at it as someone describing and talking about their process, their relationship with creativity, and how it manifests in their life, and encouraging other people to explore that concept as well. It changed my life and my perspective. I read it while I was on vacation. I'm sure you saw all those pictures on Instagram. If not, head over there. The hashtag TVP hits the road will bring all of those up. I took the train to rural New York State, visited a friend, and spent so much time reading and knitting and laying out in a hammock in the sun and shade and reading more and eating good food and reading some more and knitting and reading at the same time. Anyways, this book helped me learn to embrace the power of yes. Like, if you are going to say no to something, make sure you're also saying yes to something else. Because if I'm saying yes and going with things as they come in my life, even if it seems crazy or it scares me, if I embrace yes, I'm committing to creativity. And if I'm wholeheartedly committed to creativity, the magic will be there. Yeah, I know how that sounds. I can't believe that just came out of my mouth, but it's where I am. So hang in there with me, okay? This magic might not be the loud, obnoxious, crazy magic, like Mickey Mouse and the Sorcerer's Apprentice sort of thing. But rather in the small things in life, that breath of fresh air that catches your hair and distracts you and pulls you out of this cyclical negative thought process. That's magic. That's the world, the universe, the space reaching out to you and saying, take a breath, come back. And so one of the ways this has come about in my life is through stripes. I love stripes. Stripes on clothing, stripes on houses, stripes on billboards. Stripes make me so happy, but they always make me kind of twitchy when I'm trying to put them in my knitwear. I want them there, but I never feel like they look right, or they look like everything else, and that's the last thing I want. But I've been feeling this draw and this pull towards stripes, and I decided to stop resisting it. And I decided to go with it because of this quiet, gentle nudging. And I kept with it. I kept sketching and doodling and thinking about it and talking about it and working through it. And I kept with it. And suddenly, something very organic, very true, very Dallas Ann presented itself. And I'm so excited. I haven't seen anything really like this before, and it's going to happen. It's happening right now. It's actually the project that I can't show you, but I will eventually, that's on my needles, and I've done the stripes, and I'm so excited. And even the boring parts of the knitting that I'm doing right now excites me because I see the stripes and they make me so happy. And that's because I said yes. It's because I embraced the unknown and acknowledged that stripes make me twitchy, but I moved past that. I know stripes are nothing. I mean, really now, we're talking about colors in a certain order in straight lines. But it's a thing for me, and I am so excited. That little step has helped me see that I can do this thing. Something else that Big Magic talked about was encouraging the idea to stay committed and to love the thing that you're doing enough that you can keep through it even when you're in the depths of the doldrums. Like, are you familiar with Sleeve Island? Oh my gosh. So many times when I'm knitting sweaters, I wish, why did I not design this sleeveless? Or can I get away with just one sleeve? Who needs two sleeves? I mean, really, sleeves are ridiculous. But most recently, on another sweater I was working on, I pushed through Sleeve Island because I decided to be committed. Instead of putting it away in timeout, I just pushed through, and I kept committing to the creativity. I kept showing up. Even though sleeves are terrible, I kept showing up because I knew that creativity and inspiration had not abandoned me. And sure enough, magic did show back up, and it happened again in sleeves, in doldrums, in the terribleness of the boring spaces. I found that little spark, and I was able to encourage it into full-blown beauty. and so I checked this book out from my local library in ebook format. And so I'm reading it on my super old Kindle. I think it's maybe 10 years old, maybe even older. Gosh, I don't know. Anyways, and on almost every page, I wished it was the physical book because I wanted to highlight something or underline something or make notes in the margins. I haven't felt this way about a book. I don't even know how long. It was amazing. So now I'm hoping that a copy of this book will come across my path. Like, I have this romanticized idea that maybe a second-hand version of this will just fall into my lap, or I'll come across it at a thrift store or a garage sale or something. So, we're not breaking bank, and I can add it to my little stack of books that I reread every year. There's not a lot of them. I think there's maybe 3, and I would love for Big Magic to become that 4th. We'll see. I'm going to be keeping my eyes open. Another thing that really stuck out to me in this book is the idea of letting fear have a voice. I don't know about you, but I have spent inordinate amounts of energy suppressing and pushing away fear. Because fear is bad, right? Nobody wants to be a scaredy cat. But Big Magic talks about letting fear have a voice. Letting it talk. Letting it express everything that it needs to express. But the key is not allowing fear to have a vote, or, heaven forbid, letting fear actually drive the bus. And I realized as I was reading that section there about fear having a voice but not a vote or a seat in the driver's space, that I have been starting in small baby ways to live my life that way. So April showers, that sweater, that cardigan that came out in Knitty this past spring, well, it's kind of come full circle finally. After it released in Knitty, I started looking at the different local yarn stores in the area to see which one might carry the yarn that I worked with, which was Leading Men Fiber Arts. Turns out the local yarn store a few towns away, it's about a 45-minute drive or so from where I live, carries their yarn. So I kind of started freaking out because the idea of cold emailing someone and presuming they actually want to talk with me, oh my gosh, it triggers so much of my imposter syndrome. But I finally sucked it up and I sent an email saying, hey, would you like to host my sample from the April Showers pattern? Not only did the yarn store owner say yes, but she also asked if I would do a trunk show of all of my current designs. Whoa. Hold the phone. What? I mean, there was not a complete sentence going through my head for like a solid 5 minutes. She wants me to do what and why and when? Oh. But I did it. I said yes. And not only did I say yes to that, but it also ended up happening at the same time that Leading Men Fiber Arts was hosting a yarn trunk show at this yarn store. So there was like a double header trunk show, yarn and designs. And because I was there, because I said yes, because I listened to my fear but then told it to take a back seat, I'm now going to be going to Stitches Midwest in Chicago in August as a featured designer in the Leading Men Fiber Arts booth, with 2 new designs debuting at Stitches Midwest that I produced in a 6-week window, when it normally takes me 4 months to go from conception to publication. That's all because I said yes to a thing that scared me. So come see me at Stitches Midwest. It's the first weekend in August. I will be there Sunday only. Come see me. I would love to see your face. I will be there debuting 2 new designs. If you come, you'll get an exclusive buy one, get one coupon code that is only going to be available to people who come see me on Sunday at Stitches Midwest. There are buckets of designs coming out in the next few months, actually over through the next 12 months. So be sure to sign up for my newsletter to stay up to date, or if you're interested in knitting my designs before they're available to the general public, sign up over in the test knitting thread and see about my beta and test knitting calls. And if any of those appeal to you, throw some yarn at me. Let's see if those colors jive with what I've got in my head. P.S. It probably will. Don't worry, I love color. Also, Are you aware that I've got a Patreon website? It's patreon.com/thevioletpie. Again, link in show notes. As a patron, you get a sneak peek preview on all designs and inspiration concepts. You also get access to an exclusive Facebook group where I chat about things that are going on. We talk about things that we're knitting, and you can ask me questions and get hands-on pattern support right there on Facebook. also, and so that's available to everyone, no matter what level of support you're offering on Patreon. Now, at the $15 level or higher a month, you will get all patterns I release each month for free. Yeah, that's right. Free patterns every month. And in August alone, I'm talking about August 2018 here, just in case you're using the Wayback Machine to listen. In August, I'm going to have 3, most likely 4 designs releasing. So if you sign up in July, your card will be charged in August, and you will get 4 patterns for at a minimum $15. That's an amazing benefit, and you're getting a lot of patterns for a very little bit amount of money. At any level, your support means the world to me, and it helps keep the podcast going and making sure that all of my patterns are tech edited and pictures taken, and all the things come together because of your support. I would love to see you there. But I totally understand budgets are tight. And believe me, I'd much rather you buy coffee to keep yourself functioning than sacrifice that to support me over on Patreon. Other ways you can offer support is interaction in social media, Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry. Drop me an email. Say hi. I would love to get to know you better. Come see me at Stitches Midwest on Sunday. And if you're a hugging person, I would love to give you a hug. Well, until next time, you keep that yarn moving.